Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions we get with the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment. So the first question is, what is the Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment? The Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment harnesses the power of science using peptides, organic compounds, amino acids, provitamins, and polysaccharides to counteract damage caused by bleach, color, chemical services, and heat post-salon treatments. With a balanced pH level of 4.0 to 5.0, it effectively seals the cuticle, locking in the peptide treatment to restore strength and shine. So how should we use the Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment? We're going to start with dispensing 1 to 2 pumps of the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment, adjusting that based on the client's hair length and density. Begin applying at the ends, working your way up to the roots. Avoid excess use of the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment, so we're going to make sure that we want to use the appropriate amount for the specific hair type to ensure those optimal results. So when are we going to add this into our hair routine? So first, we're going to shampoo our client with any Shibui shampoo. Then we're going to towel dry the hair. We're not going to apply the conditioner. Then we're going to apply the Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment. We're going to let this sit on the hair for 3 minutes. We're not going to rinse it out. And then we're going to go ahead and apply any of the other Shibui styling aids to finish out that look for your client. So another question we get asked a lot is the Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment used instead of conditioner? Yes. The Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment is a potent, lightweight treatment. It can serve as a substitute for conditioner as it rejuvenates multiple layers of the hair. So following that shampoo, we're not going to condition the hair. Instead, we're going to directly apply the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment for a clear canvas. This is going to allow it to absorb into the hair completely. Sometimes conditioners can create a residue on the hair, hindering the effective penetration of our treatment. So why does the hair need to be towel dried to apply the Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment? So moisture and damp hair can cause the cuticle, which is that outer layer of the hair, to expand, creating pathways for our formula to enter and reach the keratin of the hair. Without those pathways, the product remains on the surface, unable to penetrate the multiple layers of the hair. So we want to make sure that the hair is going to be towel dried before we apply this product to the hair. If the hair is too wet, the product will not adhere effectively to the hair. Another question that we often get asked is, how often should my client be using the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment at home? So following a salon treatment, we recommend our clients to be using this after the next 4 to 6 washes, and once that they feel like their hair is repaired and back to that optimal health, then they can just use once a week or as needed. So another question is, why should the Shibui Peptide Primer be used at home by our clients? This is going to help keep your client's hair healthy beyond the salon. When the hair is in great shape, your services will last longer, letting you do more at their next appointment. Can I use the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment after a keratin treatment? Yes, you can confidently incorporate the Shibui Peptide Primer into your hair care routine after a keratin treatment. There are no negative effects. Can I use the Shibui Peptide Primer on hair extensions? Absolutely. The Peptide Primer is suitable for clients with extensions. To optimize results, avoid applying the primer directly to the weft or adhesive and focus to get onto the natural hair as close as possible. This is going to help to make sure that there's no slippage where the adhesive or where the wefts are in the hair. Is emulsification or activation required for the Shibui Peptide Primer Leave-In Treatment? Our Shibui products don't require any activation. While rubbing the peptide primer in your palms before application, that's going to help with even distribution of the product in the hair, but it does not activate the formula. Why do I need to leave the peptide primer on the hair for 3 minutes? Well, we recommend leaving the treatment on the hair for a minimum of 3 minutes to allow the adequate amount of time for the peptides and other ingredients to absorb into the hair before applying those other products to the hair.